What happens when two of country music's brightest stars collide live on television? When one simple question sparks an argument that leaves everyone speechless. Today, we're looking at the tense on-air clash between Keith Urban and Kelly Clarkson that had everyone talking afterward. It all started as a regular episode of The Kelly Clarkson Show, with Keith dropping by to promote his new album and share a few stories. Everything seemed normal until Kelly brought up a topic that clearly hit a nerve. "So, Keith," Kelly began with her usual friendly smile, "there's been talk lately about authenticity in country music. Some say certain artists have moved too far from the genre's roots. What's your take on that?" Keith's easygoing expression stiffened. The shift in his mood was immediate. "Well, Kelly, that's quite a question," he replied carefully. Kelly pressed on. "I mean, some critics think that you and other artists have crossed into pop too much. There was even an article last month questioning whether your recent collaborations are still true to country music." The audience went quiet, sensing the change in tone. Keith leaned back, tapping the armrest once before responding. "You know what, Kelly? It's interesting you'd bring up that article without asking me first if I wanted to talk about it. This feels less like an interview and more like an ambush." Kelly blinked, startled. "Keith, that's not what I meant. I'm just opening a discussion about how country music is evolving. You're one of its biggest stars, and your perspective matters." Keith's voice rose. "Address what exactly? That people think success means I'm no longer authentic? That's ridiculous." The tension in the room was growing. Kelly tried to steady things. "Keith, I think your music's amazing. I just wanted your opinion on what's happening in the industry." Keith let out a humorless laugh. "My opinion? I've been doing this for over 20 years, sold millions of albums, won Grammys, and stayed true to myself. And now I'm sitting here defending my choices because of one article? Come on." The room was silent. Kelly exhaled slowly. "Keith, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I'm not attacking you. I just wanted to talk about change in the genre." Keith's tone sharpened. "Oh, really? Let me ask you, Kelly, when was the last time someone questioned your authenticity as a pop artist? Probably never, right?" Kelly opened her mouth, but Keith didn't stop. "That's the problem with country music. We get policed for every little thing. How we sound, how we look. If we dare to evolve, we're suddenly fake." Kelly leaned forward, her voice calm but firm. "I think you're reading too much into this. I wasn't trying to provoke you. Weren't you, though?" Keith shot back. "It sure feels like it. It's always the same. If an artist experiments, critics say they've sold out." The air in the studio was thick. Kelly straightened her shoulders. "You know, Keith, I've interviewed a lot of artists on this show, and none of them have reacted this way. Maybe it's not the question that's the problem. Maybe it's how you're taking it." Keith's eyes narrowed. "So now it's my fault for not enjoying being blindsided? That's rich, Kelly." "Keith," she said tightly, "this is getting out of hand." "Oh, I think you knew exactly what you were doing," he snapped. "You came prepared with that article and those questions, expecting me to give some polished answer about how country music's changing. Well, sorry, but I'm not playing that game." Members of the crew exchanged uneasy looks. Kelly took a breath. "Keith, I never meant to make you uncomfortable. I've always respected you as an artist." Keith's tone turned cold. "Respect? You just asked me to justify my music in front of millions of people. That's not respect." Kelly's patience thinned. "I think you're being unfair and defensive. Maybe ask yourself why this question bothers you so much." That set him off. Keith stood suddenly, his chair almost tipping. "Defensive? I've been in this business longer than you've been performing. I don't need to defend my music to anyone, especially someone outside country music." Kelly rose too, her voice low but steady. "I may not be a country singer, Keith, but I know music. And I know insecurity when I see it. You're proving those critics right," the audience gasped. Keith's voice dropped dangerously. "Insecure? No, Kelly. You're the one who tears down artists to make yourself look relevant. Don't pretend this wasn't deliberate." "That's out of line," she said sharply. "No guest has ever spoken to me this way." "Then maybe it's time someone did," Keith shot back. They stood facing each other, both furious. Kelly's voice was calm but icy. "You know what? This interview's over. You need to cool off." Keith laughed bitterly. "Cool off? I'm done because I won't sit here and be insulted. You talk about respect. Try practicing it." "If you feel disrespected," Kelly countered, Look at how you're acting right now. Keith's face flushed red. You think this is unprofessional? How about ambushing your guest for ratings? That's not what happened, Kelly said firmly. I've never done this show to embarrass anyone. The fact that you think that says more about you than me. Keith shook his head. I bet your producers are thrilled. You got your drama for the week. Kelly's face went pale before hardening. That's disgusting, Keith. I would never set someone up for attention. Keith folded his arms. You're smart, Kelly. You know controversy gets views. You knew exactly what you were doing. If asking about industry trends is enough to upset you, she fired back, maybe the critics have a point. Don't you dare validate them, Keith warned, stepping closer. You have no idea what it's like to constantly have your authenticity questioned. And you have no idea what it's like to be attacked for asking a fair question, Kelly replied, refusing to back down. I've had Dolly Parton, Garth Brooks, Carrie Underwood on this show, she continued. They handled tough questions with grace. You could learn from them, Keith laughed bitterly. Perfect. Now you're comparing me to others. That's exactly the problem. Country music's obsessed with comparison. Maybe it's about handling criticism professionally, Kelly snapped. Right now you're proving those critics right. Keith looked stunned, then furious. You really think that, don't you? That I've lost touch? I think you've forgotten this is a conversation, not a courtroom, Kelly said. I'm not judging your music, just your behavior. When you bring up negative articles on live TV, that's not a question. It's a setup, Keith said harshly. Kelly sighed. The real problem is your ego. You can't handle a real discussion. My ego? Keith laughed without humor. This is about respect, not ego. You failed at both. With that, he turned and walked off the set. The sound of his footsteps echoed through the silent studio. Kelly stood frozen for a moment, taking a shaky breath before saying quietly, Well, I guess that's a wrap on today's interview with Keith Urban. We'll be right back after this break. As the cameras stopped rolling, the silence said it all. What was meant to be a simple talk show segment had turned into a full-blown feud, one that ended not just an interview, but any chance of friendship or collaboration between two major names in music.